Throughout the year, as teacher cadets, we have learned and experienced the value behind teaching. Educators are some of the most important people in our world. We are so lucky to have a school with such outstanding administrators, counselors, coaches, trainers, librarians, and custodial staff. We love you and are so grateful for all that you do to keep Spartanburg High School such an amazing place. Teacher cadets usually like to send out special words of encouragement during Teacher Appreciation Week. However, since we are learning virtually, we decided to get creative by creating a video that honors all of our wonderful educators. We have come up with multiple qualities that effective teachers embody, and we are grateful to say that SHS teachers exemplify these qualities.
Being able to encourage students is a good trait to have as a teacher because every once in a while students need someone to push them along and encourage them. A few teachers who have mastered this trait are Miss Ann Brasington, Coach Benny Gibson, Miss Susan Plonsky, Mr. Dan Plonsky, Miss Janet Walker, Dr. Ali, Mr. T.A. Edmondson, and Miss Angela Eaton.
An effective teacher is a good listener. To be a good listener means that you take time out of your day to hear students' problems or just time for them to express themselves. When I think of teachers that are good listeners, I think of Dr. Donna Howell, Miss Hillary Boyd, Mr. J.P. Conley, Miss Kristen Owens, Miss Patricia Brock, and Miss Susan Tate. Thank you for being good listeners to your students.
An effective teacher is full of compassion. Miss Nix, Miss Renfro, Miss Childers, Miss Sloan, Miss Tipton, Mr. Sessions, Mr. Carabin, and Miss Foster are very, very good examples of compassionate teachers, and we appreciate each and every one of you for showing us compassion every bright and early morning. Thank you so much.
A dedicated teacher is someone who has a love and passion for teaching, and they are also committed to the student's success. Some dedicated teachers are Coach Andrew Caldwell, Miss Christy Dunlap, Coach Dean Ousley, Miss Elena Tepperman, Dr. Jennifer Richards, Coach Jonna Edwards, Coach Jonathan Eason, and Coach Wes Brown.
An effective teacher is engaging. To be an engaging teacher means to involve your students in creative ways. When I think of engaging teachers at Spartanburg High School, I think of Miss Allison Little, Miss Bevan C., Miss Sherelle Jackson, Mr. Chris White, Miss Jennifer Thomas, Mr. Joseph Anderson, Miss Lisa Donahue, and Miss Lisa McCulley. Mrs. McCulley has done a wonderful job engaging her students and will be missed next year. Thank you all for engaging your students each and every day.
An effective teacher is adaptable. When I say adaptable, I mean that they're able to adjust to new conditions very well. Because every student have different personalities, which means that they have to adjust to those students' personalities and know how those students like to learn and how they are. When I think of adaptable teachers, I think of Vinhu Sinha, Ryan Reynolds, Lee Dillard, Kim Maccabee, Julia Potter, Fred Barrier, and Larry Ware. Thank you for being adaptable to your students.
An effective teacher is organized. An organized teacher is more efficient and more helpful to their students. When I think of an organized teacher, I think of Joy Bryant, Amanda Gomes, Carol Corey, Jason McManus, Jody Vetchin, and Samantha Hammett. Thank you for being organized for your students.
Being flexible is an important quality of being an effective teacher. The teachers that I would like to say are flexible are Miss Bridget Posey, Coach Fred Ford, Miss Joy Powers, and Mr. Jeff Woodall.
An effective teacher is someone who holds high expectations for their students. A teacher who holds high expectations for their students is someone who is simply there for their students. They push them to do their very best, and when the student fails and needs help, they're there to help them improve for next time. When I think of teachers around our school who hold high expectations for their students, I think of people like Rhonda Palmer, Stephanie Dawkins, Kevin Miller, Kimberly Jordan, Nada Mora, Nick Playstead, Tony Thompson, Matthew McDaniel, Jeff Key, and John McAllister. I want to personally thank each and every one of you. You have all impacted my life in some way, shape, or form, and I hope that one day when I become a teacher, I can impact students' lives also. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week. Thank you for everything you've done. Stay safe, and I'm praying for each and every one of y'all.
An essential teacher shows a lot of great qualities. One specific quality that has stood out to me would be a teacher who demonstrates great communication. These following teachers who I'm about to list have demonstrated this specific quality: Mrs. Tina Sparks, Mr. Major Davis, Mr. Wingo, and Mrs. Kelly Bertrand. I'd like to give a special shout out to Mrs. Bertrand because I know she is going to retire. I am sad to hear this, and I just wanted to say thank you for all that you have done for me. Thank you for always helping me with my computer as best as you could, and even when you couldn't, you always were able to find somebody to assist me. Thank you for always speaking so kindly towards me in the hallways. That meant more than you think. And thank you for always just having a positive attitude, and I loved all the cute outfits you wore. I hope you do well, and I know you will be successful in whatever choice that you so choose or wherever you choose to go. I will miss you, and thank you for everybody that I listed above.
Passionate teachers see teaching as an opportunity and not a burden. Some passionate educators are Mr. Donovan Brooks, Miss Jessica Stevens, Miss Morgan Williams, Miss Hannah Land, and Miss Mary Brito. Mr. Jeff Kuntz, Mr. John McAllister, and Dr. John Moody.
Understanding is an aspect that is the foundation to a great teacher. One of the most important things in educating students is understanding them. Understanding a student allows teachers to reach their interest and inspire them to learn. Understanding is deeper than knowledge. Many people know their students, but very few truly understand them. The following teachers have taken the time to truly understand their students and teach them to the best of their abilities. Mr. Brian Law, Miss Gina Chapman, Mr. Justin Horn, Mr. Nick Lilly, Miss Sandra Thomas, Miss Shara Byers, Master Sergeant William Foster, and Miss Arlene Newitt.
An effective teacher is positive. When I think of positive teachers, I think of Jessica Rodriguez, Gerard Gauthier, Katie Cockrell, Margaret Reedy, Michael West, Naportia Davis, Robert Frost, and Susan Turner. Thank you for being positive to your students.
As part of Teacher Appreciation Week, I'd like to shout out all the teachers that I believe are enthusiastic teachers. Those teachers are Mr. Bruce Chapman, Miss Crystal Woodruff, Mr. Dennis Roberts, Miss Erin Hubble, Miss Leslie Richard, Mr. Matthew Smith, Mr. Robert Umberg, and finally I would like to give a special thanks to Miss Cindy Goforth since she is retiring this year. Thank you for everything you taught me, and to all the teachers, thank you for being pillars of inspiration to each and every student.
Committed is a wonderful quality for teachers to have. Committed teachers work hard every day to make sure their students understand the material. They arrive to school early and stay late after the final bell for students who need extra help. Some teachers at Spartan High who have strong commitment are Miss Mary Margaret Crocker, Miss Gina Delgado, Mr. James Lamb, Miss Beverly Clinch, Miss Kathy Dillard, and Miss Rebecca Stephen, who I also knew as Miss Jones. Thank you for your hard work and being available for students.
An effective teacher is creative. A creative teacher is someone who is open-minded and creates innovative ideas and unique strategies for their students. When I think of a creative teacher, I think of Mrs. Rebecca Gentry, Mrs. Sylvia Jameson, Mr. Stephen Eaton, Mrs. Tally Pruitt, Mrs. Thomasina Guffey, Mr. Zarquorian Jeter, and Mrs. Beverly Evans. Thank you so much for being such a creative teacher for your students. And a special thanks to Mrs. Beverly Evans for everything that she has done for the past 48 years for her students.
An effective teacher is knowledgeable. They are able to keep their students interested while teaching them the material thoroughly. When I think of knowledgeable teachers, I think of Mr. Chase Lear, Mr. Dennis Donahue, Mr. Ed Gosnell, Mr. Henry McInich, Mrs. Katie Baymiller, Mr. Mark Gentry, and Mr. Rob Wilder.
An effective teacher is involved. Being an involved teacher means that you show your students that you really care. When I think of involved teachers, I think of Mr. B.J. Cannoli, Mr. Carl Green, Coach Dolores Culberson, Coach Sharon Dillon, Mr. Raymond Russell, Miss Elizabeth Mallory, Miss Donna Snellgroove, and Mr. Kim Mitchell. Thank you all for being involved with your students.
Appreciation Week, I would like to say thank you to Miss Petty, Miss Jackson, Miss Cunningham, Miss Cologne, Miss Hill, Miss Biggerstaff, and Miss Zuska for showing patience in the classroom and focusing on helping students in every way that you can. Being patient is so important to have in a classroom, and thank you for everything through senior year.
I believe that an effective teacher is empathetic. An empathetic teacher is one who works hard to deeply understand their students no matter the emotion that they are going through. Whenever I personally think of empathetic teachers, I think of Beth Walsh, Gina Rode, Todd White, Nathan Harris, Jeremy Pruitt, and Gary Parrington. I would like to give a special shout out to Mr. Parrington as he is retiring this year. He's always made sure that myself, along with all of his other students, are successful and cared for, and he has just been a great teacher throughout the years. Thank you to all of these 6 teachers who have shown empathy to all of your students.